From beautiful downtown Milwaukee, the mecca of mythicism, it's the Mythicist Milwaukee Show, keeping the all-seeing eye of Horus on the secular movement. Produced weekly by Mythicist Milwaukee and sponsored by Atheist Community of Milwaukee, Kenosha Racine Atheists and Freethinkers, and the King's Tower Productions. The Mythicist Milwaukee Show highlights movers and shakers from the global secular movement and explores the mythic origins of today's major religions. Today we're proud to have with us the Atheist Airwaves gang. They have their own website. You can find all of their archives at atheistairwaves.soeq.net. Welcome.
Actually, atheistairwaves.com will take you right there.
All right. Atheistairwaves.com does the trick, and we are with Christian and Reb and Amanda. Welcome, guys.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Thank you so much for having us, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. We don't have a lot of podcast guests on. It's sort of a new trend because we're running out of scholarly, educational type research.
Yeah, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'd say more like crossing genres, kind of crossing over into a different
crossing the streams,
a different group
that's
of
a delicate
guests
way of putting
to
it.
have. But, first of all, let's start with the obvious. How do you get away with a name like Christian going around
I know, right?
doing an atheist airwave?
You're the first person who's ever actually
bet.
noted that. That's not something that everyone says to me all the time. No, it's probably the best, conversation starter at atheist conferences and everything else. So, works out for me. Apparently, my parents did not see this coming. That's
Right.
basically
Kind of missed the boat there. I always thought it was a nice name. It works better as a name than a religion. I think it's sort of nice sounding.
I guess you're right.
You can shorten it to Chris.
Favorite name. He loves it.
Chrissy.
Chrissy is better than Chris.
All right.
I've been shooting myself in the face for the last month because I told everyone how much I hate puns, and so now my entire Facebook wall is nothing but puns. And now I have just told everyone I hate being called Chris. It's the worst thing ever. That's the other one. If I could do anything other than Christian, I would, but that's what I got.
Go with Chin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris.
You're
I'm
on
going with
something.
Chin. Thanks guys for coming on. I'm personally a big fan of your show. I did have one question. I wanted to get to, how you guys started and where this all came from and how you guys all came together. But one of the things I've noticed is, you guys have like 20 hosts. Have you, how does that work? How many different hosts do you guys have? Do you guys just have like substitutes for the day of? Like what's that all about?
When we first started, we actually had 3 full-time hosts, including myself, and then we had one chair that was just kind of, would rotate among people. And it really started because, we're part of Corpus Christi Atheists, and it was really a way for all of our members to kind of get out and express what they were thinking about issues with the atheist community. We lost 3 of our full-time hosts and just haven't replaced them. So now it's just me and then 3 rotating spots for other people to jump in on.
So it's sort of an outlet for your atheist community where you live, which again, it presents a great paradoxical name, doesn't it? The Corpus Christi Atheists.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are all about that, I can see. What's it like being in Texas? Is it ugly down there? Do you get beat up in the street when you leave the studio? Or you have to face 6 guns? Is that why you really call yourself Reb, to fit in? Well, I mean, what's up?
It's very helpful. Everyone just assumes I'm a racist. So it's like, all right, I'll just
right on, cousin.
Good job, Reb.
It really is the most racist town I've ever lived in.
Nice.
And not even kidding. And I really, before moving down here, I've only lived here about 7 years. Before I moved down here, I had no interest in atheist communities. I'd been to like 1 or 2 meetings of atheist groups, and I was like, I don't really care. And I moved down here, and like I'm being refused service because I have an atheist T-shirt on. People on the beach are hassling me because I have, because they can see that I'm an atheist. There are people breaking out car windows of our members and things like that. So I really quickly decided I needed a community, and that's how this all came to be, I guess.
Now, how much of that violence is just crossover from the drug cartel business down there?
It's mostly human trafficking, really.
Okay. There you go. Or a coyote on your...
Really weak.
Well, actually, like Corpus Christi is one of the #1 hubs for cocaine smuggling. So,
Of course. Yeah.
if you do cocaine, chances are it probably came through Corpus Christi.
Wow.
We're #1.
That's like the state bird. The state bird's all jacked up and tweaking.
Yeah, and you mentioned the beach. Is the beach, can you see like oil rigs from the beach? What's the beach like in Texas on the Gulf?
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I've been places where you see like wind farms and stuff out there, or just nothing but ocean. We have oil rigs.
It's a beautiful horizon landscape of oil rigs.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying. We're in Texas. Oil rigs is all you see when you're on the beach.
And oily birds.
Yeah.
So tell us, Amanda, what your story is. Did you are you from there? Are you a lifelong atheist? How did you come to be with this motley crew of
Motley Crue is
podcast weirdos?
really.
Not nearly musically as talented, but
Yes, absolutely. I have lived here since I was 4, but luckily my parents were never very religious. We were like Easter and Christmas Christians.
Okay.
And I used to go to like Bible study in middle school. And at one point I was just like looking around the room going like, this shit isn't real though, right? Like you people don't actually believe this. And
Turns out,
yeah, they did. What? So yeah, I just opened up about it pretty much in high school, and since then have just been like, whatever, I'm an atheist, deal with it, and lost friends, gained friends. Life goes on.
Now tell us what do you concentrate on with the podcast? Tell us how you told us sort of how it got engendered, but what sort of format is it? What do you look to do with the podcast?
it's kind of changed over the years. You know, when we first started, we intended to be very, very serious.
That lasted like 2 days.
Right. And then, you know, me and one of the other former steady hosts, Jay, who has his own fan club to this day. He hasn't been on for about a year and a half.
Like maybe once or twice a year he'll come in because he'll have something that he's doing he wants to promote, and he'll come and talk. But yeah, people love him. He has this group of Gigolos.
Gigolos.
Yeah, and the Gigolos are always saying, "Hey, have Jay back on, have Jay back on." But we decided after a few episodes that if we weren't laughing, if we weren't having fun the whole time, then we weren't doing it right. So we decided, okay, we're going to be less serious. We're going to tackle serious issues, but then we're also going to make sure we're having fun while we're doing it, and we're also going to tackle nonsense. And it turns out we're all horrible people. So our shows are extremely not safe for work. Do not.
Yeah.
Headphones,
yeah.
Just scroll like the title of our podcast, and you'll get an idea of the kinds of things you may.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I noticed with you guys. I mean, you guys actually, it's a great intro, and you always do a bit on the front end with some kind of clip, but you guys are very funny, and you have great like a relationship between the hosts. And do you guys ever script any of the jokes? Because it seems very natural, but I wasn't sure because it's very the comedy is very good.
Very few.
I know, like some of us that do preparation, not very many. You'll kind of like read through an article, get an idea of like kind of the things you want to say, but you just bring it cold to the show, and if people laugh, they laugh. If they don't, they'll ridicule you about it. So
Right. And I got to say, you know, one of the things that we get told by our listeners all the time is, especially listeners who are in areas where they don't have an atheist community at all and they feel very isolated. We are all actually friends. We hang out when we're not doing the show. And I think that comes across in our show because they tell us, they say we're really jealous because we want to have friends like that we can sit around and say horrible things like you guys do.
yeah, kind of like the atmosphere on the show. We have like our weekly meetup where we all get together and eat, and pretty much the same kind of conversations we have on the show are the same kind of conversations that we have just as a group of people sitting around a table having beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Yeah, we do a little bit of that. We do a meetup on our end, but yeah, our meetup really isn't tied to the podcast. It's kind of a standalone thing on our end. But
I was just saying, so is ours. They're not connected, but they're very similar just because
Thematically.
right.
Just because we're assholes, basically.
We're disgusting people, and we're just as gross when we're just hanging out as we are when we have a microphone.
One of the things we kind of describe our meetups is there's like a brain side of the table that might be discussing philosophy or some sort assign something, and there'll be the butt end of the table, which will be just telling dick jokes and stuff. So you kind of get a little bit of any kind of conversation you want to have there. You can have it with some group of people.
Yeah, and I get that. It comes across, and Sean lied. Of course, I did listen to 5 minutes of the podcast, 5 minutes before we came on. And the opening starts out with a great 60 minutes bit. You know, I'm Christian. I'm Johnny Reb. I'm Amanda. And then quickly someone goes, all right, and the whole thing is like, you know, it's like, and the pretense of journalism goes out the window. But I think you probably do a little bit more picking on current events than we do. Seems like maybe you'll grab a news story or grab a headline and kind of run with it a little bit.
Trump was the latest focus. Yeah,
somebody explained Donald Trump.
It's really interesting because Dr. Darrell Ray was on our show last week talking about why evangelicals can even stand a guy like Donald Trump, who clearly wants to have sex with his daughter, has on every wife he's ever had. I mean, these are things that you would think that evangelicals wouldn't do, and he explains it beautifully. And in between talking about that, we're talking about dicks on foreheads and
naked sex games in his living room,
and why Heather doesn't like to be on top, and, you know. And so we actually had a listener write to us through tweet at us actually and say, "Hey, can I edit your show and take out all the dick stuff because like." The heart of what you were talking about was so interesting, and I want to share it with other people, but there's a bunch of dicks. We're like, go for it, dude. So he's actually edited our show and is distributing it to people, but that's not kind of the show we want to do. We want to do like smart stuff with dicks in between.
Right.
Unfortunately, his version is now 20 seconds long.
It's intensely interesting. So.
Best 20 seconds of your life.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Goodbye. That's our show.
Is anybody worried, like I am, that the atheist community is going to get kind of what they deserve in their first atheist president? It'll end up being Donald Trump, and nobody will win at all, you know?
I'm still waiting for the day when we have like a president that's like taking dick pics and like they're like, oh, I've seen my president's penis. That's cool. You know, he's very transparent.
Haven't we had that? Came close, right?
Who? I have no idea.
Just with the Clinton bit and the cigar.
Well, we got to hear about his dick the whole time, but we never get to see it.
Who was the cat in New York? Who was it? Senator?
Oh, Anthony
Wiener, dude.
Anthony Wiener.
Yeah, it's in a movie on that guy.
In America.
So yeah, how did take us through how the organization started and you know what you guys are doing at your meetups and some of the things that you guys have going on.
Well, so this podcast got started. We're actually celebrating our 3rd year anniversary this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We started because a group we're affiliated with here locally started a community radio station, and they said, hey, why don't you atheist people come and do a radio show on our radio station? And we were like, we would love to do that. So we actually helped them launch the thing. Our members had technical expertise, so we ended up on the board and started doing our show on community radio here in Corpus Christi. We actually also recruited there's a lot of overlap between our group and the LGBTQ community here locally. And so we recruited some people from that community to do what was that called?
Gaydar?
Gaydar. Yeah.
Oh.
So they did a show on there. About 3 months into it, though, and actually, from my Facebook page, today was the launch day. 3 years ago, today was the launch day of Corpus Christi Community Radio, and so we did that for about 3 months, and then the board got together and said, you know, there's a lot of gay and atheist stuff on there, and people in Corpus Christi don't want that, so maybe we could just hide you guys from our website and all that stuff. And we told them to go fuck themselves.
So they invited you in, and then in the end,
yeah, in the end they
told
said
you were too controversial.
Wait, so the LGBT community put you guys in the closet? Is that what happened?
Well, no. They got rid of us and the gay people.
Oh, gotcha.
No more gay people, no more atheists.
Yeah, because they wanted to bring in other radio programs too, but none of them wanted to go there because they thought, oh, this is just the gay and atheist radio station. So
gotcha.
That's why they hide the gay and atheist people. That way people are like, oh, okay, we can bring in other.
They wanted diversity in the beginning, and then it
kind of
backfired on them.
It's too much. Yeah, too much for them.
too hard to get the good people that they wanted on the station.
Yeah, the antelope hunting program didn't want to share.
Yeah,
airtime.
it's like Will and Grace and Richard Dawkins like on the same show. It'd be tough.
Ranch advice.
Corpus Christi can't handle that.
No, they cannot. Actually, we didn't resign. We resigned from the board. All of our members said, okay, we're not going to be on the board anymore. We're just going to do our radio show. You can hide it however you want to, but we're not going to be affiliated with that bullshit. A week later, we went into the radio station, and they had changed all the locks.
Wow.
Because they had a lot of our equipment and stuff. But luckily, we have this IT person who just like, well, I'm just going to hack in and change all the passwords on the things.
Wow.
And so we did a fundraiser, and we didn't miss an episode. We went web only the next week, and they scrambled because they didn't have all of their tech help had left, and they never broadcast. I think they broadcast one more day, and then they just folded.
Wow.
Oh, tell me about the fundraiser. We're always looking for ideas there. What did you guys do to raise funds to get started?
We were really lucky because when this all went down, Bill Maher was coming to town, and he had contacted us and said, hey, if you help us promote my show, we'll give you some free tickets. So we sold 2 tickets for $600.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we gave the rest away, and then we just asked for donations from our local community, and they turned out in a big way to keep us going. So
Nice.
Wow. So Bill Maher reached out to you guys, huh?
I know, right?
After you left the CCCR, or he reached out to you as Atheist Airwaves?
Oh, he reached out to us as he reached out to us as Corpus Christi Atheists.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
and just
because I'm always on the other end begging and pleading with talent agents and managers to get and Bill Maher just comes to you guys. That's fantastic.
Yeah, what are we missing?
Just shut up.
What do we got to do?
His guy is like, would you please promote our thing if we give you 6 free tickets? I was like, fuck yeah.
Was the show
Jesus
not
Christ.
selling well in Corpus Christi? Like, what was that? That's
It
crazy.
was sold out. I don't know. But,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, there you go.
Well, great.
it's a small town, though. I mean, it's only like 300,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, well, we're the town known for the vice president shooting the guy's face off. So yeah,
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney shot that guy in the face.
That's
here
where he
Corpus
did it in
Christi.
Corpus Christi?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then when it got to the news, Corpus Christi was described as a backwater town.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's funny.
Poor words.
Yeah, next time you guys get Bill Maher in town, have him on your show. Trust me, that'll definitely help ratings.
No doubt about it.
We tried so hard.
Yeah.
So free tickets, but yeah, he wasn't gonna fuck around with us.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Then you guys did the fundraiser, and then you're just off to the races, huh?
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, the first episode we did outside of the radio station, our mic stands, and I gotta shout out to Leslie Byerly, who's one of our hosts. She put bookends together, those crappy things that you find in public school libraries, the little metal things. She taped those together and had wire. Those were our mic stands the first week. I mean, everything was just taped together, but we did it.
That's awesome.
And we're still going, so. And they're not. Fuck you, Corpus Christi.
Well, that's the thing is, like, radio is so dead. I've been saying this forever. I mean, we were looking at doing promos on radio, but like radio is just a thing of the past, in my opinion. Podcasts are really where it's at, and these things are getting more and more popular. And I think people just like that on demand. I can listen to whatever I want right now and not have to worry about the radios playing.
Yep, exactly. Even with music, I don't want someone else choosing what I'm listening to. I want to choose what I'm listening to.
Right,
So
exactly.
I've been over radio for a long time.
Yeah, longer the days dead that you'd call into the DJ and ask for a song to play. I would say, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna play your song," even though like 1,000 other people probably requested the same song. It's like
When you're not in your car, when do you
Ridiculous.
see a radio anymore? Anyway, that's the other thing. It's like nobody's got a radio in the house anymore.
Right.
Then they have a damn dial
That's true.
phone on the
Yeah,
wall.
the closest thing I got is XM Radio. And they have a cool app that you can just listen to the shows on. So I use that for like the Howard Stern show.
How do you convince anyone to pay for radio? How do you even do that?
The Howard Stern show is the only way you convince people. And then once his contract is up, XM Radio is just going to die.
dead.
It's just going to die.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the whole thing. He came out. He was exclusive to XM.
Yeah,
and
remember it was
that's
a
the only
big
way you can
splash
get
that
them,
it made when it looked like that was the future of radio, and clearly it was just a mid-stage thing.
Right,
Kind of
exactly.
like the CD.
Yeah.
It was
It's kind of funny. Like every once in a while on the Howard Stern, they'll talk about podcasts. It's like, I don't understand podcasts. It's like, well, you had better. It's the future.
Yeah, and there's not really a whole lot to understand.
Yeah.
Terribly. I'm an old guy, and it's not that complicated to get. There's other things that are harder, like I have a harder time keeping up on my Tumblr page, I think, than
You don't even listen to our
That's the hard part I
shows.
was thinking of.
you. Quit lying, man. I listen to.
You don't
the
even
shows.
listen to the shows.
Sure,
you're
I
on.
do. What else does the group do? Do you get involved in the community in other ways? Are there different kinds of activism going on? Mostly social meetups. What else is up?
We do a lot of volunteer work. We tried to do a lot of volunteer work. We do beach cleanups and
They clean the oil off ducks.
yes.
So let me just, she won't mention it, so I will. Amanda Stevens here was the Foundation Beyond Belief's Volunteer of the Year this year.
Oh, congratulations.
We're well acquainted. Noel George and the gang.
Yeah, Noel George.
She
Fantastic.
got a little crystal statuette thing.
That's right. You have a little award. It's so exciting.
What'd you do with the Foundation Beyond Belief? Or what
It
didn't
was
you
just
do?
it was all of our volunteer work for the last year, I guess.
Yeah, and she's our volunteer kind of coordinator and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah.
I say there are things happening and we should be there. So
That's great.
No, that's great work. The
fantastic.
first true, atheist, secular, humanitarian group. We enjoyed having them on, and that's a really much needed gap that's being filled there by that
so-
stuff. So good shit.
You know, if there are people out there who will have their own atheist communities, there's a Beyond Belief network that the Foundation Beyond Belief runs, and it's basically about 120, 130 atheist groups, actually around the globe now, who are committed to doing volunteer work in their communities. We're one of them, and Amanda is really of Corpus Christi Atheists, and like she said, because the rest of
everyone
us.
stop laughing.
Well, we got sidetracked though, but it's serious. Tell us more. The beach cleanup. What else around there, Amanda?
Yeah, we've adopted a park, so we're actually after this we're going to clean up our park.
awesome.
We plant gardens around town, plant trees.
I know, like the city will do stuff every once in a while, and we'll get a whole
Yeah.
bunch of volunteers for glass recycling.
Yeah, glass recycling is fun.
Nice.
It's very cathartic.
We've done some stuff with the women's shelter locally. We've supported the local autism foundation,
The food bank.
the food bank.
Yeah.
So we
We used to do CASA, now we don't anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually won't. CASA is the
Court appointed special advocates.
There we go.
so they're an organization that helps children who are
A very important organization, mind you. That's
Right.
why we decided to help them.
they provide legal assistance to children whose parents really fucking suck, and we ran a fundraiser for them.
Yeah,
and-
they got broke into, right? And
Yeah.
got some stuff stolen. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we generated thousands of dollars in toys, equipment, and cash for them.
Wow.
And the local community got so upset that atheists were
I was just going to ask that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they now have a policy that they will not take money from us.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's dirty money.
It's only to help children that can't help themselves, but
Meanwhile, they're
it's
lying
atheists.
to them about history, and
Right.
Which
Right.
brings me to the next topic. In Texas, do you fight the schools at all? Are you up against?
Funny that you ask. It's an unpersonal story.
God, I brought that one up.
Oh my God. Yes, Dewey. Actually, in terms of just random people messaging Corpus Christi atheists, that is the number one thing that they message us about.
Wow.
We're having problems with our school. And I've run into this personally. Maybe 2 years ago, my daughter went to a new middle school and she joined the volleyball team. And her first game, I was really excited. I had like her number painted on my face. I'm that dad.
Takes off his shirt.
School colors everywhere. Yeah, that was me. And then they were playing against a Catholic school. And at the beginning of the game, their kids and our kids all got into a circle, held hands, and our volleyball coach led everyone in a prayer. And I was like, oh, hell no.
Oh boy.
That's not a thing that just happened.
Wow.
So
That's a public school.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, she's in a public school. So I contacted the Freedom from Religion Foundation. that day. Sent them pictures of this prayer circle, and Sam Grover, who is
We know-
awesome.
Yeah,
Your
we know
second
Sam.
best.
Second best friend. After Andrew Seidel, Sam Grover. Both of them are just heroes to me for the work that they do.
They're attorneys with FFRF.
Yeah. Sam Grover sent him a letter within 24 hours. Like, the school sent them back a letter saying there was nothing wrong with what we did. Within 24 hours, the Catholic kids were in a corner praying by themselves, and my kid was over on the bench talking strategy for the volleyball game. So they're amazing.
I wonder if the Catholics on their own would have went there. I find that the Catholics are pretty reasonable about these things compared to the evangelicals that you're dealing with down there.
Not down here.
They fight back, right?
Depends on where you're at,
guess
man.
so. I guess so. That's-
You should have seen the Catholics in Rwanda and Kenya. You want to talk about
Right.
some shit?
FFRF, of course, right down the road here. We're well acquainted with Andrew and Sam and all the great attorneys there, Patrick and Dan
Oh,
and the
Christian
rest.
is so jealous of her. So jealous.
We had Andrew on the show not that long ago, and he routinely comes and parties at my house and has dinner, and we share pictures of our kids and family. And no, it's
He doesn't even follow you on Twitter. I remember you asked him.
he
he's
doesn't
like,
follow anybody. You know,
he's like,
and
"Fuck that."
I admire that. He follows like 10 people, but
No,
no,
I'm talking about Rob.
They do great work. We're fighting the same thing around here, where the public schools are sending their kids to science overnights at a creationist camp, and they can't quite do anything about it because they won't quite cross the line. But it's everywhere, and I just wonder with the national attention that's been put on the textbooks that come out of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
What's it like? So I ask the question, and they all just explode in laughter because nobody's calling us up at Mythos ISM Milwaukee or Craft or any of our little groups around here to complain actively about the schools. And the problem does exist. I know it from having kids in the schools, and of course, education is everything.
I think it's a little more slighted here. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's not as in your face
No, but
as
we do
getting
have-
in a circle before a soccer game.
Yeah.
I mean that's
But this kind of stuff still happens here and there, and the small towns are leading their town councils in prayer before.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the strategy for a lot of these smaller towns. It's like, well, let's get our, religious people onto these school boards and into these different organizations and have them just push a more religious curriculum. And if someone calls us on it, then we didn't know. And then, but if not, let's just keep doing what we're doing.
So you think it's an active agenda? You don't see it as just a byproduct of the fact that these people are religious and they just don't separate. You see it as them trying to really push the agenda.
At least Corpus, it's very active.
Yeah, it is. And you look at groups like the Gideons and how they're getting into schools, and they actively tell their members, do not go to administration, approach teachers. They are very, very deliberate in how they are invading our schools, in that they are trying to go the way where it won't get caught by people who know the rules. They will go to the teachers who maybe don't or maybe don't care. And that's how they get into the classrooms, and especially down here in the South, it's bad.
Yeah, and then you got churches that'll encourage the kids to go do stuff. Which, I mean, it's fine if a kid goes and does religious stuff at school, but no, it's very much a concerted effort by churches to encourage their members, children, adults alike, to go in and bring religious content into the school.
Yeah, and then one of the biggest things that we've seen among the stories that we cover on our show is that there are positions with a lot of churches where the actual title of the person working there is school evangelism. And they very distinctly say this person's job is to go to public schools and get Jesus there.
wow.
Now, do you have after-school clubs too? We're facing that around here with good news clubs they were allowed by the Supreme Court several years ago to operate.
We covered a story just a couple of weeks ago where they bought they had basically a funnel funneling scheme where they got state money, and then the school would buy stuff, and then the church would buy the stuff from the school for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And so it's very much so. It's all a big fucking scheme.
Yeah.
And we've got vouchers here in Wisconsin, of course.
Oh, no, you do not.
Yeah,
Really?
and traditionally fairly liberal Wisconsin is now nothing but a red state with a creepy conservative governor who's allowed the voucher program to be extended. I don't know how many multifold that he's letting it go statewide, basically. So everybody can send their children to a nice Lutheran school where they teach you lies in science class.
Right.
It's child abuse in my mind.
Exactly.
You guys all on the board on the side of religion needing to be called out, or do any of you have a place in your heart for?
I'm all for concentration camps.
Sequestering. Yeah.
The reverse crusades.
Build a fence around.
Yeah.
Just build Trump's wall around all the churches. Right?
Yeah. Well, and I know you guys are on episode 154, or maybe 155. I know there's some debate there, but do you guys think it's going to last this long, or what do you guys see coming up in the future here?
Yeah, I definitely didn't think it was good.
Yeah, we're just going to keep doing this as long as people want to listen to it, I guess.
It's gone through multiple events. It used to be at the Corpus Christi radio, and then it was in Jay's attic, and then it was in my kitchen, and now it's in the Bierley's extra bedroom. So yeah, it's moved all over town, and lots and lots of different people on the show. Yeah.
As long as we have a home, until we're homeless, I think we'll keep going.
And apparently anyone can host, so you've got a revolving door
There you go.
of
I gotta say though,
personalities.
like now I'm the only consistent host. I'm the only one who's on. I've been on every episode except for 2.
Yeah, and then I had to host those, and those were kind of disastrous.
I mean, they couldn't be more disastrous than Just with Christians.
So the workload, and basically these guys are all lazy assholes who do nothing.
Yeah, I used to prepare it, and I'm just like, I'm gonna wing it. Just gonna wing it.
Yeah.
You asked earlier if we prepare the jokes. Nope. No one even reads what we're talking about. They're like, Christian, tell us a thing, and then we're just going to react to it.
But there's some slick production there. Who does that?
Huh?
Who does the production? You just alluded to the fact that half of you are lazy. Who does the it's a fairly slickly produced.
It is. It's very
it sounds
good.
really great. Like somebody.
There's a lot of work on the back end.
Yeah,
that
somebody
goes into
edits
this.
it on the back
And
end.
Christian's ego just grew 3 sizes.
So
Everyone in Corpus Christi hates you now.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, people get into this and they think, whatever, we get on here and talk, but it's not easy. You got to get on, you got to sound good, you got to have
takes
good
time.
topics, and you got to do a bunch of work on the back end, marketing, uploading, downloading, editing. I mean,
These guys know.
Yeah.
These guys know.
yeah,
At
yeah.
the risk of blowing Christian even more here, he does actually do a pretty good job. The show really is his baby, whereas most of us, like, I'm just like that creepy uncle you don't really want to leave your baby alone with for too long. So
No. Well,
Christian really does a lot of work.
if you listen to our show, like about a year ago, you'll see how terrible it sounds. And then Jason Lawson comes on and he started doing the editing and the producing and doing it the proper way. And now we actually have good audio and good content. And
someone who makes me listen to something now and again.
Right,
Hey,
right.
You need to listen to this.
That's what I'm used to. That guy. Maybe I'll read a thing, maybe I won't.
Right.
You're lucky I'm in front of the microphone.
Right.
But it works. It works. So,
yeah, so what do you guys got coming up?
well, we're gonna do our big 3rd-year anniversary show. Every anniversary show we have a big party wherever we happen to be recording at that time, which makes the show really obnoxious because it's really loud in the background. And we usually have a microphone that's open where anyone in our community can just sit down and talk about whatever they want to.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So
Oh, boy.
those are wild shows. So that's coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah, try to bring back some of the original members. And,
That sounds
We're-
exciting, actually.
Yeah, no, it's always really fun, at least for us. I don't know how it is for our listeners. But seriously, if you're going to listen to that show, get drunk first. And then you'll just
and don't use that as the benchmark for quality of the show. It's maybe the show afterwards.
right. And I guess we are a really smart show. We tackle a lot of
If we do say so ourselves.
but we tackle a lot of serious issues. But then there's a lot of talk about smacking people in the face with your dick.
People like that. People like that, though. They like that variety.
Getting smacked
for
in
sure.
the face with a dick. People
Well,
Some people like that.
Yeah.
maybe you
Yeah.
like that, Sean, but I'm
Well,
not sure people do.
No, I think that's people like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the top podcasts, we have the Scathing Atheist, Cognitive Dissonance. I mean, obviously something's selling there, and what do those things all have in common? Fart jokes. So
You see that? They all laugh. So, right, all you got to do is say the word.
Sorry.
Fart joke, fart joke, fart joke. Titty joke. They are the Corpus Christi, the Body of Christ Atheists, and their podcast Atheist Airwaves. We like to promote our own shit from time to time, and we've been talking straight through with the 60 minutes of of atheist podcasts. But we do want to promote our conference, 21st, coming up in just 3 short weeks, less than 3 weeks away. The big debate between Robert Price and Bart Ehrman on did Jesus exist at all. Despite the name of the town in Texas, there's probably no body of Christ, nor ever was.
We haven't found it.
But do get your if it is, it's rotting on an oily beach, right? Floating off an oil rig, having been tossed overboard.
That's like the Mormon Jesus if he's in the U.S.
That's true.
You know?
But do get your tickets at mythosismilwaukee.com. If you can't be there, you can stream it live for $9.99. Only $9.99, my friend. But it's time for a little thing we like to call Myth of the Day with our friend Antonio Desconocido, el nicaragüense con el mense grande. What's up, Antonio?
Everything's good. This is an exciting show. So why would the early church fathers deny Mary's ascension into heaven? Most people do not know that Mary's ascension to heaven was not always accepted as dogma. Catholic authors readily admit that the Assumption, or Mary's ascension to heaven, is not explicitly taught in Scripture. From 494 to 496 AD, Pope Gelasius regarded Mary's ascension to heaven, a.k.a. the Assumption, as heresy. He went as far as issuing a decree that officially rejected the writings surrounding this story. Mary's ascension did not become an article of faith until recent times when Pope Pius XII declared it a dogma of the Catholic faith in 1950. This is an example of another myth that has been changed and modified to fit the needs of an ever-changing world. And that is our myth of the day.
I just got to say that, for the listeners, go back to when he says this is an exciting show. It sounded completely like opposite of what he was saying. And then the whole delivery was very epic.
You're overwhelmed.
Do any of y'all have like a career or history in broadcasting? You all seem to have very good radio voices.
Oh, thanks for that. No, we're actually trying. That's what we're trying to do now.
No, Rob, don't. I mean, you went to school for broadcasting.
Well, I was a theater and communications major. I've had my radio show here and there.
Yeah, and we just learned from you.
But he's right. No, your voice comes across good on the mic. I've always thought.
I appreciate that.
Sean does a good job.
Appreciate
He doesn't
that.
have much to say, but
I say and all that.
Well,
way
so
too
do
much,
I.
yeah.
That's why I don't listen to the podcast, because I just want to cut my wrists open when I do.
Jesus Christ!
It's
I guess
hard.
I will
It's hard,
never
man.
give you shit for not listening to the shows again, because if that's the end result.
No, these guys know if you're like, sometimes it's
Slit
just not.
my wrists.
You're just overcritical, and then it ruins your day. And who the fuck needs that?
Yeah, well, I give you guys credit for starting something like this. For us, when we started it, a little bit of back history on ours. We actually started with an AM radio show too, producing it, and then the host just didn't want to deal with atheism anymore. Kind of similar to what you guys had, but yeah, we started our own. We had no idea what we were doing, just kind of made it up as we go. But it's tough because, you don't know what the feedback's going to be, if it actually grows or gets noticed at all. And it's a lot of work sometimes for a little bit of payoff. So,
well, that guy was getting ready to die, so I think he was trying to hedge his bets a little bit. Honestly, I think he was just, he's like, I better get off the atheism wagon, because I'm going to have to answer maybe here sooner than later. And I think a lot of people sort of lose their nerve at the end, don't you? We can all only hope that we can be strong when those dark days come. And
I guess
we need more than the cold comfort of science to get us through the night, right? I can only hope.
I gotta tell you, like, we have had some bumps in the road. So we talked about Jay earlier and his group of Gigolos. He's a very unique individual.
Really?
And
Very, very unique and strong opinions. On
yes,
things.
he has strong, wrong opinions on many things.
He's wrong way, Jay.
He in one episode lost us 30% of our audience.
Nice.
And I was on vacation the week after that, and I spent the entire week responding to hate mail. He was advocating killing letting
children die in house fires or something. It's like, Jesus, Jay, come on, man.
And it's like, we're never listening to you again.
Wow. But he has a following. He has Gigolos, so there you go. Something worked out.
No, yeah, the ones that stayed, yeah, they're all for it.
They're hardcore,
What does our show become?
let the kids die. Let the kids die.
Now, were these creationist kids? Why should they have died in the fire?
But then, we a lot of the Gigolos left when Jay left, and Susan left.
Yeah, we like to think the cream of the crop stayed.
Right.
It always rises to the top.
Keep telling yourselves that.
Yeah.
Gigolo got his own podcast now. It's number one. We look around and there he is. Go Gigolo.
It's called genocide. That's all.
Genocide into humanity.
Genocide.
He's going to be on the show the next couple of weeks. So
Yeah, these aren't things we haven't already told him. He knows.
It's a great promo for that. I'm going to tune in for sure.
Just a
speaking of
Gigolo.
promos, I wanted to say I am so jealous. Ehrman versus Price. Oh my God! Like I almost feel like I have to go up there. For
Well,
that.
hey,
Well, you do
we
have
would
to,
love-
and I'm
we
not
would
sure.
love to have you guys come
I'm not
out.
sure why you haven't already bought a ticket. There's not really much excuse for
2,000
that.
miles, but know about it until just now. So
It's not far enough away from Corpus Christi, my friend.
no,
It's not on the other side of the United States.
No, yeah, we'd love to have you, but if you guys can't make it, let me know. We got the live stream option.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can work something out for your meetup group. Absolutely.
What do you know about mythicism? We like to ask the guests traditionally. Some are mythicists, authors. Some are obvious, but a lot of people in the atheist community don't really weigh in on Christ myth theory. Do any of you have an opinion on that?
Oh yeah, we do.
Well, we actually read the Historicity of Jesus, where it talks very much about the the mysticists and historicist setting for Jesus.
I think all of us fall on the mythicist side, or at least lean that way.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear because then we wouldn't have put this show on air if you would have said it the other way.
Oh, that's
Just
not
kidding.
true.
I'm
That's
just
not
kidding.
true.
No. We'll have Bart on tomorrow, so there you go.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
Yeah.
Just for a quick, give us some sound bites so we can make it a little
Yeah,
commercial.
Doing a little promo.
Yeah,
for
not
it.
a real long.
And we're going to be
podcast.
on your guys' show, so definitely get into more of that.
When is that?
We should talk about that when we have you guys on.
Yeah.
I really feel like there's no contemporary sources. There's no archaeological evidence.
Right.
There's no. I want base. I mean, I feel bad for Ehrman, although he's said some things lately that in the last couple of years that I'm like, okay, he's kind of
He's
moving
leaning.
on.
He's leaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, I don't think that's. I think that's why you don't see him debate a lot. I think
He was
Oh,
like,
he does. He debates a lot.
Well,
He does. He just did one on Justin Bass. I mean, he's very, very active debater.
but does he
He's a
debate?
master debater.
But has he ever debated a mythicist on this topic? I don't.
No,
think he
this would
has.
be the first one.
That's what I mean.
This
I
would be
don't
the
think
first one.
he doesn't think there's much to be gained from.
Of course not.
Being questioned on the scant evidence that he's going to present. I can't wait to see what he has to say.
No.
I can't remember what quote it was from Ehrman that I reference quite frequently, but people who have read his early work never believe that it's a direct quote from him because they're like, no, that's not at all what he would say. And oh yeah, there's video of it. I can show you him saying this.
Yeah, something about Jesus. I know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
something. It was something like kind of leaning toward the mythicist position. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, Jason's looking it up.
But the unfortunate thing about Jesus is that we have such scanty documentation about his life. Most people don't realize this. But Jesus is never mentioned in any Greek or Roman non-Christian source until 80 years after his death. There is no record of Jesus having lived in these sources. In the entire first Christian century, Jesus is not mentioned by a single Greek or Roman historian, religion scholar, politician, philosopher, or poet. His name never occurs in a single inscription, and it is never found in a single piece of private correspondence. Zip references.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. You guys do a great job, and we're excited to have you. Is there anything else you want to hit on before?
How do we get as popular? How do we do it?
Oh, well, you got to start listening to the shows.
Oh, is my demographic, my listenership
start
is going to put us over the top? Is that
Right,
what it is?
exactly.
Yeah, all you have to do is have us on your show, and then
Perfect.
But then there's gonna be a lot more dick jokes in your chat room. So
And maybe potentially the Gigolos.
I don't mind that a bit. I'm all about the dick joke. That's
genocide and dick jokes. That's how the rest of your show is made. So
no problem.
sorry about that.
Nice. Straight from Corpus Christi, Texas. That's Body of Christ for you Latin scholars.
Or non-Latin scholars.
Crickets.
Yeah, if you're Latin scholar, you would probably already know.
Again, they are Atheist Airwaves, at least 3 of the revolving door of podcast hosts that they have going on.
3 of the
there.
9.
And what sounds like it sounds like you guys have a great community going on there.
I'd love to get down there sometime.
How about it, man? And we can swim on the beaches or walk on the beaches
Or clean up the beaches.
We'll have a big CCA camp out. It'll be a lot of fun.
Come down for spring break or something.
Yeah, there you go. Spring break. Good idea, man. Nothing like old lectures at spring break.
Yeah. Yeah, but guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Great stuff. And thanks again for listening, everybody. We'll see you later. The Mythicist Milwaukee Show is brought to you by Mythicist Milwaukee. Producer Sean Frasek. Associate producer Melanie Lawson. Engineer Jason Lawson. Mythmeister Antonio Blandone. Researcher Kristen Whitaker-Hood. Closing theme written and performed by Shelley Siegel. On behalf of co-host Brian Edward and the entire team, I'm Rob Moore reminding you to keep it safe and keep it secular.